Finding duplicates when FamilySearch says there are no duplicates. As you know, having duplicates in your family tree can cause all sorts of future problems as you add and grow your tree. The goal in this presentation is to make us aware of some of those stumbling blocks that keep us from having a clean tree. FamilySearch does not automatically find all the duplicates of your ancestors, as some believe. So if you see no duplicates when you go into that feature, don't assume there aren't any. Here's a person page for Nathan William Smith, and we will look at his oldest child, Lemuel Justice Smith, as well. Looking at Nathan's hints, I see only 3, but when I click on Show Details, there are actually 17 hints to see. It is always nice to see an overview of these hints and the people attached to him. If you don't want to add these sources, don't reject them by saying not a match. That tells the search engines that this is not your family and the hint searches won't work for you. Opening hint details on Lemuel, his son, yields 26 hints. Some may not apply, but you do want to look at all of them and attach all those hints that apply. I always get the question, do I have to attach all the sources on FamilySearch? Or, I already added that source, do I have to add it again? I say to them yes to both questions. If you don't, you might be missing a duplicate or other family members or hints leading you to more discoveries about your tree. Case in point, I was researching Reverend Samuel Oliver Cummings. I had added all these sources, and just before I was to wrap up this search, Find a Grave's hint suddenly appeared in the hints box in FamilySearch. I already had that source listed, and one might be inclined to ignore this hint from FamilySearch. By the way, FamilySearch said there were no duplicates on this person. But when I went to attach that one FamilySearch hint on Find a Grave, it showed that this source was attached to someone else. I went in to look at the other Samuel Oliver Cummings and concluded he was the same person as my Samuel Oliver Cummings. I did merge them and resolve the duplicate. If you are interested in LDS ordinance work, Samuel Oliver Cummings' temple work was showing that his temple work had not been done up until I merged them. Once merged, I found that his temple work had all been done. Going back to Nathan Smith, after adding all his 17 hints, I discovered about 5 records for a baby boy that had died, with parents' names as N.W. Smith and Olivia J. Donaldson. The father did go by his initials in other records, but the mother's name was pretty specific. Lauren Girl Baby was already on my tree, but had only one official record, a death record, and Find a Grave search, which is not always accurate. Because the boy baby had parents listed on all 4 birth records, was consistent with the date and place, and had an original picture of the birth and death records, I would lean heavily on saying Lauren was a male. The Find a Grave site for girl Lauren only gave me dates. No family was listed and no tombstone. No parents for the girl Lauren were listed on her death record either. However I decide to resolve this, I would make copious notes on why I chose to do what I did. I might do some more researching. I would like to say something about twins, though. I doubt very much that these were twins because they had the same name. But keep in mind that twins can be born days, weeks, and even months apart. By adding sources to Maggie Hack and Laura Jessie Smith, I find a son, Robert, that was not listed with the family on my tree. He was also listed in the 1920 census. When I went to add him, I got 3 possibilities. It is important to check these out before adding or selecting them. This is where duplicates are often created. It is by adding them before checking out people who are already in the system. Before adding or selecting, click under a name to find out more information. It will take you to their person page. This is one of those 3 choices for Robert Lawrence Smith. Robert only has a birth and death date and place. When I check hints, they show the same parents, the same birth as in the 2 census records. No sources are given and no family members are listed, but the birth and death date and place are the same as mine. I also checked out the other possible records. If you have questions about whether or not to add them, don't add them. Get some more information. They may have more than one duplicate. In that case, add one and the other one will show up as a duplicate. Then you can merge the second duplicate. I decide to choose this one, but the first one is similar. I will select this one, and the other one will probably show up in Robert's duplicates, which it did. After I merge Robert's duplicate, I continue reviewing and adding the hints, and as I do, I see a marriage record with parents listed. When going to attach this marriage record for Robert, I see this record is attached to 4 other people with the same names. This means possible duplicates are out there. You always want to look at these other people. Anytime you get a triangle like this, hold your mouse over it and click on the pin of the other person and go into to compare that person to the information you have. You can detach a source if it's attached to someone by mistake, but be sure you examine it closely and then give a thorough reason why you have detached it. Most of the time, though, it is a duplicate. There are no duplicates on Robert or his parents before adding a wife, although we can clearly see there probably are duplicates because the marriage record is attached to others by the same name. I go in under Robert's name and add a spouse and enter Thelma Louise French. This first one looks like a good match, and I already researched her a little. I will add her. Now a duplicate shows up under Robert's name, and I can merge them. After I fix a duplicate of Robert and the duplicate made from his parents by personal identification number, another hint pops up for Robert's second marriage. I see the parents are also listed. I will attach this hint. No duplicates at this point for Robert or Clara. When I go to attach this marriage record to Robert, this is what I see. When I click over the triangles, what I see is that this record under Robert's name is attached to Clara, and when I click under Clara's triangle, it says this record is attached to Robert, probably because the source of their marriage came over when Clara was added, and she and her parents already had this source. Now you might think as long as both have the record attached to their sources, what is the big deal? The problem was that this marriage record kept showing up as a hint under Robert, and this is a screen I would get whenever I tried to attach that hint to Robert. Having that hint out there might allow someone else to add Robert or Clara in again, not seeing that this hint was already attached. I had to go into each Clara and her parents, click under the marriage source to open it up, and click on Detach. Then the system would let me add this hint to Robert, Clara, and her parents to their sources. Robert's parents, Jesse and Maggie Hack, already had that source, and there were no conflicts. William Patterson doesn't have a spouse listed. He has no duplicates. I find his wife, Phila Lee Robinson, and add her in. Still no duplicates for either William or Phila Lee, nor are their hints attached to someone else. It wasn't until I found Phyllis' parents that a duplicate showed up for both Phila and William. If you're looking for temple work had been done on her and her family except for sealing to spouse. William's temple work had not been done. Had I not found Phyllis' parents, I would have done temple work for Phila that was already done. Amanda needed more sources. She had no duplicates and no hints. Charles dies in 1891, and their youngest child would be 6 years old at the time of his death. I'm thinking she got remarried. On Find a Grave, I saw her listed with another spouse, Thomas Prine, and also a death record for Amanda with the last name of Prine. As I try to attach the death certificate for Amanda, I see that it is attached to someone else. That is a clue there is a duplicate out there. I added Thomas Prine as a spouse and then went in to search him in FamilySearch. In the 1900 census, I could see Amanda with Thomas Prine and 3 of her children from her previous marriage, all living with Thomas's father. We are looking from Thomas's person page into FamilySearch, so this record is already attached to Thomas as it says Review Attachments. If I come in from Thomas's person page, I see this record is attached to all the people in the 1900 census except her children from a former marriage. When I come in from Amanda's page, it tells me it is attached to another Amanda and another Thomas. Once I standardize everything and add in Thomas and his parents, then a duplicate shows up. I can now merge these records for Thomas and Amanda. Amanda only had 2 sources before I began and 1 spouse and no duplicates. I could have called it good and moved on, but by searching for and adding as many sources as I could, it led me to another spouse. I was also able to add a few pictures. As far as LDS ordinances, Amanda did not have any done before I started investigating, but after finding her second spouse, she has had all her work done along with both spouses. I had Anna Bertha Morrison, her spouse, and 4 children in my tree, and their information was correct as far as I could see. After some searching, I saw the name of what I thought were her parents and put them in. No duplicates for Anna or her parents at this point. Then this one little hint suddenly popped in. I already found this 1920 census in another place because FamilySearch wasn't giving me any hints, but now it pops up. This happens as you add more people and sources. Going in to attach the 1920 census, I find that this was attached to her and possible siblings. After careful research, this is what the correct family looks like. Her father had 2 wives. Katie or Catherine was the stepmother to Anna Bertha Morrison. Her real mother, Bertha Ann Aldridge, died 3 days after Anna Bertha Morrison was born. A lot happened to the father in 1907. Claiborne's child was born, his first wife dies, and then he gets remarried all in the same year. Had I just stopped after what I thought were Anna Bertha's parents and saw no duplicates, this family could have really been messed up, and Anna Bertha would be attached to the wrong mother. Another thing that happens is that each time a child is added, a person would then add the same parents in again. So if a family has 6 children, there could be 6 sets of duplicate parents. When you see this, you would want to go into the parents and resolve all the duplicates. In summary, be thorough with your research. Find your ancestors' parents, their siblings, all their spouses, their children, and their spouses' parents. If you see a triangle with a detached, check it out. Look at that duplicate and see if it really is the same as yours. If it is, merge them by their personal identification number. You can detach a source if it's attached to a wrong person. Add in all the hints from FamilySearch that apply, even if you already have them in your sources. That one source might be attached to a duplicate person, and you won't know that unless you add in all the hints. Plus, if you have attached all the hints from FamilySearch, it will hopefully cause another person who wants to attach that hint to their person's sources to look at yours before making a duplicate. Plus, you may find missing family members and pictures. If a hint applies to your ancestor, never reject it. The research engine for FamilySearch will think it is not your ancestor and will stop finding hits for that person. Standardize all dates and places. That is how the search engines work. Always suspect another spouse, especially if a spouse died early. Look carefully at the children's ages to determine which spouse was the birth parent. Hopefully this has helped us pluck a few duplicates from our family tree. Thanks for watching and have a great day.